First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for sharing your morning with us and welcome to the city campus. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Dominic Calaby. I'm the Director of Business Innovation Group here at the Georgia Southern University's College of Business Administration. If you've not been in this building before, or in this space, you guys are in for a treat, especially as we move forward. So just to give you a little bit of virtual sense of what we do here before pressing on. If you've noticed the dumpsters in the alleyway, you see the construction taking on in the next building, that is us, thanks to great support to the city of Statesboro, expanding into the property right next door. So if you imagine, when these guys are done with construction, which should be completed in June, a grand opening in June of 2016, we'll have a full-fledged business incubator right next door. 20 businesses, fully furnished offices, high-speed data connection pooled from campus into our space. So really to create an environment by which businesses can start and be successful and tap into the services that we provide right here. In the front of that building is the piece that gets people most excited, and that is the fabrication laboratory, so a fab lab. So imagine a place with 3D printing, laser cutters, all the equipment and infrastructure that you need to be able to create just about anything you can imagine. So whether it's out of wood, plastic, or metal, you'll have the facility and infrastructure. And when I say you, I mean you. Not just our students or our faculty, but anybody within the community to come in, make, mold, create, and then hopefully we help partner and work together to get you to sell it out into the market. So we're really thrilled about that component. But the thing that gets us most excited, apart from the infrastructure, are the addition of new programs and services for our business community to thrive and be successful. And that's why we launched a big cafe. So I'm really excited about this particular program. One, because it brings in an infrastructure and environment where entrepreneurs, everybody can come together and be supported. You're going to hear from our first two entrepreneurs that come up and just talk about their business, present a problem, and hopefully engage you as the audience member to help interact, help you solve that problem. And then in turn, maybe someday, you can reach that lady right there in the back and then sign up to be our speaker moving forward. So we're really thrilled about that. So with that, I'm very excited, and let me not be remiss to thank our team that helped put this together. If you've not met Jill Johns right there in the back, she's been fantastic. Kind of wave your hand for those who haven't met her. She's great, so she's coordinating this effort and moving us forward. And Chase and Jerry Blakely, great volunteer helping put this together. My hat's off to each. So with that said, you're going to hear from our first presenter. Each presenter will have 6 minutes to present their problem, not pitch their business, but present their situation, and then you have 20 minutes just to provide them feedback about how they can be successful. From there, you'll hear the first one. We'll take a quick break. Everybody can grab their coffee, refill it, and then come back and hear the second presenter. Only fitting, though, to start off with the first presenter, the sponsor of all the coffee you guys are drinking. Except you. What's up with that?
It's not really Starbucks, though. It's just home. Trader.
We'll try.
I'm leaving.
I'll leave without great comments and feedback.
So take us coffee and go.
He knows I love this coffee.
The sponsor, Cool Beanz, bring the coffee from right next door. If you'll help me present, give a warm welcome to David Hoyle, owner of Cool Beanz.
First of all, I'd like to thank Jill and Jerry and everybody that put that on to give me this opportunity. A lot like you guys, I had an opportunity, saw a need, and was able to fill it. I didn't really have any entrepreneurial background. I have a retail background and management background. This is my first foray into really jumping in and doing something on my own without any type of safety net. So my business is Cool Beanz Espresso Bar. I'm right next door, and hopefully you guys will refill and you enjoy your coffee. I'll get some more. Basically, my business model is manually prepared, locally roasted coffee. So I roast my own beans, and I make all my coffee by hand. And that's something that really wasn't in town for the first year that I've been open, and sets it apart a little bit different. It takes a little bit longer sometimes to make a cup of coffee, but it's usually worth the wait, and you should be able to notice that the quality is a little bit better. My situation is, right now I rent the space from the bakery next door, so we're two separate businesses. And so basically I took my coffee bar and just set it inside there. And I pay her a portion of her rent, and I pay the bills. So my overhead is very small. Didn't really have to build out a brand new space. I just basically had to build a building. I've been able to move into that space for probably less than about $10,000. What I realized is that's a great opportunity if I can find other locations to do the same thing, because I can go into a space for anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, start running my business. So the outlay, the initial cash outlay is not really high. That being said, I found a second location, and I'm in the process now of moving into that location. I've been open for about 1 year and 4 months. I've had 2 employees the entire time, and now I'm at the point where I'm hiring new employees. I'm basically doubling my staff and moving. I'm going to have a remote location. My big thing that I don't know, and I'm looking for you guys hopefully to help me, give me some ideas, is how do I build an infrastructure? Just like you guys with your businesses, everything you do is, I mean, you're the person, you're the one, you're the man, the woman, you know, you handle everything. And so you're always there, or maybe initially you were always there and you were always doing what needed to be done. That's how I am next door. And I realize I can't be in 2 places at the same time. That scares me to death because I've built my business based on me being the one there. And people come to expect that, and there is a certain level of expectation. So what I'm looking for is if anybody's had this situation where they've had 2 locations, to help, you know, like I said, build some sort of infrastructure. All my reporting that I do everything with spreadsheets. I use online payroll. I basically just, you know, write checks through, you know, out of a checking account. I don't have a payroll system because I didn't really need it. And so if anybody has any input or any ideas that would help me out, I would be truly grateful. So that probably wasn't my 6 minutes.
No, but you're fine.
Okay. So yeah, I just like to open it up if anybody has any, and that's what this is for. It's just for us as a group to throw ideas around. There are no bad ideas, and you know, it's like there's no sense inventing the wheel because there's just tons of experience in this room, and I'm sure people have encountered the same thing. Just any ideas of things that worked in the past, and if you have any questions about my business, I'll be more than happy to answer it. You know, anything that'll help clarify and help, at least help me get some ideas of what I need to do. So,
I got plenty of ideas. But are we supposed to talk amongst ourselves first and try to come up with?
no, it's just it's a forum. Just
I want to get input from my
So
partner.
you're having trouble basically owning 2 places, but you want to be at both places, but you're only one person.
Right.
A lot of the structure. Have you ever had a shadow before? You said you had the same employees for the whole entire time, correct?
No, I haven't had the same employees. I've only had 2 employees.
You've only had 2 employees.
Right, and I've rotated through 2 of them. I had to
Okay.
find other jobs. One of them graduated, so it's, you know, I've got, everybody's new that I have right now, and I'm about to hire 3 more people.
So you
that are
need
all
a
new.
shadow, basically, somebody that has the same interest that you do without running you out, basically.
When you make it
Somebody
run
who
around.
basically isn't gonna get all the knowledge they have from you and then go start their own business,
Right.
which happens a lot.
It does happen, and
Um,
in my other jobs, I did run into that a lot. And the one I had a boss one time that told me, it's like, what's worse, training somebody and then they leave, or not training somebody and they stay. But you're right, that's always a big fear. Is, you know, I'll take somebody and show them what I do, and then they're going to go open, you know, their own coffee shop. And I've always said Statesville can handle more coffee shops,
Yes.
but to a point.
I say that as I'm not in the coffee anymore. I managed Starbucks for quite a few years, and then I did a private industry back in Iowa. And he was from Holland, and he brought his business over to the U.S. in there. And I shadowed him for a lot of the time that I was there, and it was very helpful for him. I came in every time he was there, I was there.
I think
'Cause
that's-
basically, I didn't have a life. He was my life.
Right.
That sounds horrible, but he became my life so that he didn't have to be there as much. I had to read books on coffee the proper way, not Starbucks way, the actual way that, you know, he wanted things done. I don't know if you can find someone that's like
See,
that.
that's, yeah.
If you don't mind introducing yourself to the group, who you are and what your
Oh.
business is, since we're all new and
Okay.
there's a networking. I meant to mention that at the beginning, but if you
you're
don't mind, that'd be
fine.
great.
My name is Stacy. I've been here only a couple months now. I obviously used to work in coffee. I don't any longer. Now my business is called Paws on the Ground. I'm a dog trainer. I used to be more intricate back in North Carolina where we were, but my cohort is board and train, so we bounced off each other a lot. Obviously, I can't do board and train here. We don't have the facility. And that's it.
Yeah, I got some help for you. Joe Russo, Georgia Southern. I teach entrepreneurship here. From what I gather, you have already developed some unique product attributes that you offer your clients. What I find that's unique in your growth strategy is that you are looking to lower the cost of market entry by what we call strategic alliances with folks who have good locations, lots of traffic, and you can get in and share that without, let's say, having to carry the whole cost.
Right.
All right? So you have to grow. And the way you're going to grow is you have to grab these good locations. At the same time, like all entrepreneurs, you're restricted because you also make and deliver the product. So you're going to have to get other people to do that work so you can do the growth work, which is finding locations, making the deals, and running the new place to get it right with the right people. So for you, think of when you reach out to these new locations, you're outsourcing the location. Everything about you is you're trying to outsource as much as you can, keep your costs down, and keep everything flexible. So you need to find someone to help you create that internal systems, the growth infrastructure. You've got to find someone, you've got to outsource it to them. Okay, that's all I'll say for now.
No, and that's a good point because you're right, I have none of that. I know I need that because I was with Freeman Jewelers back in the 90s when they went from 50 stores to 500 stores. And I saw what happens when you don't have an infrastructure. And so in the back of my mind, I think about that. And I don't want to get to the point where I stretch myself too thin. Because if this works here, then it's like I've got two other places, I've got two other business owners that have talked to me about putting a coffee bar in. And I'm just worried. I don't want, one, stretch myself too thin, but two, I think there's a point where it's too much. And by myself, I guess, put it that way.
So about franchise.
That's in my 5-year plan. Yes, it's a good question. Yes, sir.
Marco George, Covenant Security and Surveillance, your hometown security headquarters.
Should we say no plugs?
You mentioned something that's scary for any entrepreneur, and that is what I like to call training your replacement. One of the things, though, you want to look at, what we've done with Covenant, is incentivizing and rewarding loyalty. Some type of profit share. You'll find somebody that has a passion for business, and maybe and even better, a passion for coffee, if they're a coffee connoisseur, so to speak, and then incentivize them, offer them the opportunity to grow with you, and begin to build your inner circle. Because one of the things I heard you say was franchising in your 5-year plan, and the same thing that Covenant's doing. But right now, we're trying to build that core team of folk that will have some level of ownership in the company. So you want to look at that, and that builds that loyalty where you're not just training someone to go and be your competition, but when they look up at the end of the day and say, hey, I'm going to own a piece of this, and I'm going to be able to say I'm a franchise owner, I'm one of the original partners, so to speak. That has worked for us in building our core group, and as we grow our company, we're seeing people that come on board, bring their gifts and talents to bear, whether it be in an administrative role, whether it be in a business development role, or whether it be in a management, of a location, whatever the case may be. Where you want to begin to look at folk who are looking to grow, who have an entrepreneurial mindset, but don't have the financial backing, and they need something, but they want to grow a business. They want to start at a ground level and grow that company. And so, that's worked for us.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's the big thing that I realized, because I was, retail for a long time, is your team. You're only as good as your team. And I always used to find people that wanted to take my place. It was different when it wasn't my business, because now that's my business, it's a control issue that I realize I have. And I tell everybody that I hire that I do have control and trust issues, and that we just they need to work with me to get through those. So, did you have a question?
Yeah, Suzanne, Business Advisor here at Business Innovation Group.
as you were talking about, the way that you're keeping up with the paperwork, one of the big things that I've noticed in my husband's business is trying to help with the processes and the flow, especially as we added another person on. So we use certain software or online software to kind of help us figure out how to move things from one to the next. So I don't know if you're working with a certain point of sale system or have considered, if you're adding a new location, I know there's costs associated with that, but hopefully you're going to bring in more money. So could you look at possibly going like a QuickBooks or something to help you there?
Well, and I looked at QuickBooks, because right now I use Square, and I use that as a register, and they do have a very robust, at least for me, reporting system. So I can pull all my reports, track everything, sales-wise. Invoice-wise, I track that through spreadsheets. And that's what scares me, is that I'm gonna miss something, or something's gonna happen, all of a sudden I'm gonna wake up one morning and it's like, hey, you're like, $500,000 in debt, because I need to pay it tomorrow. I looked at QuickBooks. The way I'm set up here is I ring up my sales and I also ring up the bakery sales. Because it's two separate businesses, I have to be able to separate those. And when I was playing around with QuickBooks, I didn't see the ability to separate those sales, because I invoice her, we invoice each other at the end of every week for everything I ring up and everything she rings up. At the new location, there's a possibility that that'll happen, but maybe not. And so QuickBooks would work over there, but then I need a QuickBooks for two locations to pull everything together to where I can just look at one report.
Well, you can, Fred David, Minuteman Press, QuickBooks, you can go with the cloud version, which will allow you to have your multiple.
And that's what I tried that for 30 days, but that's when I just had just this location, and it didn't work for what I wanted it to do. So, and I probably need to talk to somebody who's really good on QuickBooks and say, here, this is what it can do for you. Here are all your options, because I needed the reporting, and the reporting didn't really do what I wanted it to do.
One other thing I wanted to mention to you, you mentioned your payroll. I've used the payroll service from the start. It's about $100 a month, and I don't have a lot of employees, but it's well worth it because I don't have to worry about getting my tax reports taken care of.
I will say I just started, my accountant is taking over my payroll.
Okay.
Yes, and that's just such a relief. I don't have to worry about it.
That's definitely something that a lot of people look at as an expense, but it's really not, because the amount of time it frees you up, absolutely.
Oh yeah, and the peace of mind.
The peace of mind, right. You'll get a call from the labor department.
Maybe we'll talk to your accountant about the QuickBooks.
We did talk about it, and I explained what my issues were with it, and she was like, well, I don't know it that well from the cloud version. They use the software.
Who's that?
QuickBooks.
I don't know, so who's the person?
My accountant. So, but yeah, you're right, and I don't know, that's part of what issues I have too, is that, I've always done everything, and it's given up control and, sharing things.
You're a fighter pilot, and you're trying to be a bomber.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a very good analogy. So anything else? Yes.
Joseph Metter. I work here as a grad assistant. I know you're expanding. Have you come up with a good, just model, I guess? You need one grinder, one pot, and all that in terms of?
Yeah, I have a template, excuse me, that I'm using, and so this is a test. And once I can nail down everything that I need, then I can put that in a package. Because this will be a semi-permanent location, but then if this works the way I hope and expect it to work, I've got another a smaller set that I can take to catering events, or to somebody says, hey, why don't we try this, see if it works in my shop. Then I can take my bar, just roll it in without having to do any plumbing or anything like that, and say, okay, here we go. And then, anyway, that's a long answer. Yes, I do have a template, because I'm looking to the future. And if it works as easy and great as I think it does, I can't see why anybody who loves coffee wouldn't want to try something like this. So, as long as they give me a fee.
Royalties.
That's right.
David,
Yes.
with that, do you have a set of operating procedures? Have you written that down so that if somebody walks into the store, they'll know that?
I do have it. It's up here. And I have written down my closing. like different procedures like closing, opening, what needs to be done, but to actually write down
What your process
POS,
is.
yeah. And I did that when I was with Freeman's, I wrote,
Right.
it was like a 1,500 page POS, so that's what scares me, but I do realize I need to have that.
Right, multiple locations.
Yes, exactly. So
That's how
Because you
someone
want
who
everyone to
owns
be
Starbucks,
identical if
Starbucks.
you're, yeah.
Yes, exactly right. Does anybody have any other input, ideas, tips? Yes.
Patsy Prager, Institute of Public and Nonprofit Studies, and I'm Georgia Southern, and I've been here 6 weeks. It rains every day.
Enjoy it now. That's it.
So you need to give up control. So you remind me of, there was a nonprofit in Arizona, and they started 6 years ago with 5 people, and they're in 47 states. And so I think that's what you've heard here was you need an infrastructure, and you can outsource most of that, because if you're going to be the sales and the point person, you keep talking about, I can roll out my coffee bar, I can do this. And so I think with having written rules and policies that you live and not put on a shelf, you don't need a 1,500 page document, but what you need to do is be able to sit down and map it out and basically start an apprentice program.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, I will be the first person to admit that it's a control issue with me. When I was in retail, when I was a store manager, I always did everything I did the best. I was a district manager where I had 3 stores, same thing. But when I became like a senior partner, and at the end when I was running all the stores, I realized I can't go into every store. It was easier for me to give up that control when I knew that I had 450 stores and 30 supervisors. Versus it's still me, and I absolutely recognize that that is the hardest thing for me to do, is to trust and to give up that control to me. And I know I aggravate the heck out of my employees.
If you had a point person at each location in
Yes.
regular meetings, then you would set up a system where you wouldn't have to feel so fractured.
And in my mind, that's what I want to do. And you're right, I do need to sit down and write that out because I realize I can't be in both locations. And if I'm working in this location and something happens in the other location, I can't just close this up and go to the other one. So that's a matter of it's hiring the right people, which it's hard to find the right people, and giving up a little bit of that control, or giving up the control. Instead of thanking.
Say it.
Yeah, it is. I can't even say it. I'm like goosebumps saying it.
Because ultimately, I mean, owning your own business, I mean, I assume, at least for me, I don't always want to be the one that goes out to my clients. I mean, honestly, I come home with bruises and scrapes on the back of my neck. I don't want to always be the one that does that. But I'm assuming eventually you want to sit back and enjoy what you've created.
Right. I want to have a life.
Exactly. And so I will emphasize on you really have to relinquish, same thing I tell my clients every day, you have to relinquish control. You have to let go, and either they're going to succeed or they're going to fail. And if they fail, then cut them loose. I mean, you have to do what's best for you. Even though you like them as a person, you have to separate the personal from the business. And I know that's I know that is extremely hard, especially for control. Trust me, I understand.
Well, and actually, that's why I found other jobs for those 2 people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I did HR for a while, so I recognize, and it's easy to do that. But yeah, so you're right. I absolutely need to give up the control because I do want to develop my roasting business too, because that's a untapped potential. But I can't roast. I mean, right now I'm working 7 days a week.
Roasting takes time.
It does.
You just gotta find the right people.
I know, that's the biggest thing. So if anybody knows anybody.
That's all of our struggles.
Does that mean my time's up?
That means your time's up, and it also means that my coffee cup is actually.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody because this really is. I mean, it's just input that I wouldn't have gotten. I always try to, I'm an island and I can do everything myself. So I just want to thank everybody for their input. So thank you.
Give you a little gift for being a brave soul to share your issues with the rest of this crowd. With that said, too, we expect to see you next door working on your standard operating procedure on downtime, so that you can get that squared away.
I don't have downtime.
What's downtime?
Thank you. That's why I'm growing.